What are you trying to find now?
I'm looking at the Cat's Eye Nebula.
That's right, Laika. There's a giant cat in the sky. And it's looking down on you right now with its giant eye. And it has a friend who is a dragon.
Don't believe him, Laika. The Cat's Eye Nebula is an exploded star. It's a beautiful blue color with the remains of a star, making it look like an eye of a cat. It is found in the constellation Draco, the dragon. There, I found it!
Let's Explore Astronomy is sponsored in part by
Distinctly Yukon. The Westmark Whitehorse Hotel and Conference Center is the Yukon's premier lodging facility. Make your reservations today at westmarkhotels.com. Westmark Hotels, with 9 unique locations throughout Alaska and the Yukon.
This month, we take a look at the dragon in the sky, the constellation Draco. It is a huge constellation, spanning an area of 1,083 square degrees, winding its way around the North Pole. It can be seen anywhere in the northern hemisphere and down to about 15 degrees south. Draco's head lies near the constellation Hercules, and its body snakes between the two dippers.
There are lots of stories from ancient times about Draco. The ancient Egyptians said it was Talwet, a protective goddess. Early Christians associate with the serpent from the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The Greeks were the ones that said the constellation was the dragon. They said it was Ladon. Ladon was the dragon that Hera put in charge of guarding her orchard of golden apples. As part of his 12 labors, Hercules had to steal some of Hera's apples. There were several stories on how Hercules did this. One says he put the dragon to sleep with music, and another said he killed the dragon with poison arrows. After Hercules stole the apples, Hera put the dragon in the night sky.
Draco is home to the famous Cat's Eye Nebula, NGC 6543. It is a planetary nebula and has a magnitude of around 9 and is 3,300 light-years away. One of the Hubble Space Telescope's most famous photos was of the Cat's Eye. One theory says the Cat's Eye was formed in a series of pulses that occurred in intervals of about every 1,500 years. With each pulse, more gas and dust were blown out, and that created the different bubbles you see today. No one knows how this happened, and theories run from a double star to magnetic activity to stellar pulsations. Another theory says that there was one single explosion and the material flowed out smoothly along gravitational and magnetic waves to form this bubble effect. NGC 5866 is the Spindle Galaxy. It is a lenticular galaxy with a magnitude of 10. We see the galaxy edge on. The bluish areas are younger stars, and the orange areas are older stars. NGC 5866 may be Messier object M102. Originally recorded by Messier's colleague Pierre Michon, Michon later said he made an error and he actually duplicated M101. But handwritten notes by Charles Messier indicate that Michon did not duplicate M101 as M102, but that M102 is a different object from M101, what today we call NGC 5866, the Spindle Galaxy. NGC 6503 is a magnitude 10 dwarf spiral galaxy that is about 17 million light-years away. The Draco Dwarf Galaxy is a satellite galaxy to the Milky Way. It is mostly old stars with a lot of red giants and over 250 variable stars. Draco contains one star we need to point out. It is a binary star of magnitude 3.65. It is called Alpha Draconis, also known as Thuban. What makes it interesting is that in ancient times, around 4,000 years ago, it was the North Star, like Polaris is today. Because of the wobble of the Earth, the North Star changes over time. Today, it is Polaris. 10,000 years from now, the North Star will be Vega. Thuban will become the North Star again in the year 20,346, or about 20,000 years from now. Now, let's see what's up this month in the Southern Hemisphere. Just south of the tail of Scorpio, we find two small constellations, Ara and Norma. Here we will find some really nice star clusters, along with some nice nebula.
There are no myths associated with the constellation Norma. The constellation was named in the 18th century. Norma was short for the Latin Norma et Regula, which means the carpenter set square. Era does have ancient stories about it. Era means altar. The most common story says it was the altar that the gods used to swear allegiance to Zeus in the war against the Titans. At one time, Uranus ruled the universe, but his son Cronus overthrew him. Cronus tried to get rid of anyone who could challenge his rule, but his young son Zeus escaped and hid from Cronus, where he grew up. Zeus vowed to destroy Cronus and the rest of the Titans. He banded together with others at the altar of Era. Together they defeated Cronus and the Titans, and Zeus became ruler of the universe. Zeus then put the altar in the night sky.
NGC 6397 is a bright globular cluster located in Ara. On a clear, dark night, you can actually make out the cluster with your naked eye. In your binoculars or scope, you can see the brilliance of over 400,000 stars contained in it. There are several open star clusters in Ara that are under 10 magnitude to find in your scope. NGC 6193, NGC 6200, NGC 6204, NGC 6250, IC 4651, and NGC 6208. You can also find another globular cluster, NGC 6362. Ara is also home to the Stingray Nebula. The Stingray Nebula is very young. In the 1970s, there were no nebulous cloud of material, but by the mid-1990s, the gases were heated up to begin glowing. If you notice, there is a second star in the middle of the nebula just up and left from the main center star. This is a companion star, and scientists believe it causes the rings and bubble shapes in the gases. Remember the Cat's Eye Nebula? One of the theories there is that a companion star caused those rings and bubbles also. In the constellation Norma, we find yet another nebula with rings and bubbles like the Cat's Eye and Stingray, the Ant Nebula. The Ant Nebula is a magnitude 13, so it is very hard to see in your scope, but photos from the Hubble Space Telescope are amazing. Is there a companion star that is orbiting so close we cannot see it? Or do magnetic fields warp and twist the gases? The Ant Nebula star that blew up producing this nebula was much like our Sun. Our Sun does not have a companion star, but if these bubbles and rings are caused by magnetic fields, then the possibility exists that in some 5 or 6 billion years from now, our Sun will produce an equally intricate and beautiful nebula when it explodes. Studying nebula like the Ant, Cat's Eye, and Stingray are rewriting the theories about dying stars and nebula. Norma also has more objects to find in your scope. Check your star map to find the 15 open and globular clusters found in the constellation, including the bright 5-magnitude open cluster NGC 6087. Then, find yet another cool nebula, the Fine Ring Nebula. It is very small and faint at 12.6 magnitude. You can see the white dwarf star in the center. It is about 1,000 light years away from us.
Now let's see where the planets are this month.
Mercury is visible in the morning sky.
Venus will also be in the morning sky, moving from Taurus to Gemini. On the 17th, Venus and Mercury will be just 6 degrees from each other near Gemini.
Mars will be visible after sunset in the constellation Virgo. It will approach the star Spica from the west and pass just to the north of it. On the 12th, Mars passes just 1.4 degrees north of Spica.
Jupiter will not be visible this month.
Saturn is in Libra and visible most of the night.
Uranus will be in Pisces and visible after midnight.
Neptune is in Aquarius and visible most of the night.
Full moon on July 12th and new moon on July 26th.
I've got Mars and Spica in the same view. Now that's cool. I wonder if life ever existed on Mars. Or maybe there is microbial life there that we have not found yet.
There are some robots that live on Mars. You should go and live on Mars, Herc. You would fit right in.
I'd love to go to Mars.
Yeah, me too. Check out our other episodes in Let's Explore Astronomy series at www.tedcookproductions.com/LEA.
You will find all kinds of cool astronomy topics there.